Hello, happy Friday. I just got back from Washington, D.C. about an hour ago and wanted to share with you a few of the things that happened to us while we were there. The first day of the U.S. Conference of Mayors 84th Annual Winter Conference started on Wednesday. And the first meeting that I attended is the Veterans Affairs Task Force. I was assigned to that committee when I first came into office, and I am very, very proud to be serving on that committee. We had a few speakers, the first one being Sloan Gibson, who is the Veterans Affairs Department Secretary. And he had quite a bit to tell us about the improvements with the VA hospital. And it was amazing how quickly they have gone through the backlog of soldiers and veterans who needed health care and what they're doing to improve their services going forward. I was really encouraged when I heard him speak. And next we had Michael Rhodes, who is the Director of Administration for the U.S. Department of Defense. And he's talking about a program that Auburn has been a part of for a few years already, and that's honoring Vietnam War era veterans. And I couldn't be prouder that Auburn is one of those commemorative cities. You know, there were so many of our veterans who came home after the Vietnam War, and they were not welcomed like our veterans are today, or even from World War I or World War II, the Korean conflict, or any of the other wars that we have been involved in. Our Vietnam era veterans came home to people who didn't believe in the war and actually were rude and disrespectful to our veterans who had served our country so well. And this program now is to ensure that our veterans from the Vietnam era know that they are appreciated, that we really do care for them. We want to be supportive of them and provide them with the dignity and the respect that they deserve for their years of service to our country. So that was really an inspirational time. He showed a video, and I've seen this video probably 5 times, and I tear up every time because it shows the difference between a Vietnam era veteran and a current soldier who is thanked when he comes into this coffee shop. And the Vietnam era veteran is just sitting there a little resentful of the respect that this soldier is getting. But by the end of the video, the Vietnam era veteran understands that he is respected too. So I encourage you to watch the video. We'll put a link in for the video so you can see it as well. We also had a gentleman from the Elizabeth Dole Foundation who came to give us an update on a program that the Dole Foundation is working on to provide support for the caregivers. If you think about how many of our veterans have come back who are injured, and who is taking care of them? Their family is. So who is going to be taking care of those family members that are providing the care to our military? So the Elizabeth Dole Foundation is doing a great deal of work, and I encourage you to look into that as well. The next meeting that I attended was the Women Mayors Task Force. That's always an inspiration to me. We go around the room and we all introduce ourselves, and one of the things that we're asked to identify is whether we were the first female mayor in our city. And I am proud to be the first female mayor in Auburn's 125-year history, but there were some women in that room who were the first female mayor with cities that have a 300-year history. And some of them have had mayors in place for 4, 5, 6 terms. So in their history, they haven't had as many mayors as the city of Auburn has had. It's always an inspiration to be able to be in that room with those strong women who are determined to make a difference in their communities. And we had, for a guest speaker, Nicole Mikowski, who is a colonel in the U.S. Air Force, and she works out of the office of the First Lady, Michelle Obama. She's the executive director of Joining Forces, and they're providing support for our service members, veterans, and their families. Because as we have our service members going off to support and protect our country, think about the family members who are left behind and the sacrifices that they go through. So I'm really encouraged and inspired by the Joining Forces program. And then yesterday, we had the opportunity to hear First Lady Michelle Obama come in and speak about joining forces as well as the Mayor's Challenge to End Veterans Homelessness. Now, We were one of the cities that signed up for that challenge, and the goal was to end veterans homelessness by 2015. It didn't happen, but as the First Lady said, that doesn't mean we stop. It's an ongoing goal. And even if we were to be able to say Auburn had housed 100% of their homeless veterans, that doesn't mean we stop there. It's an ongoing process, and you have my commitment that Auburn will continue to work on housing all of our homeless veterans. And then last night, I have to tell you, I got a little giddy. We were invited to the White House to meet with President Barack Obama. And I'll tell you, regardless of your political views, there is something magical about being able to go into the White House, think about the conversations that have taken place there, be in the same room with the current president, and be able to have an hour of his time. This was the longest time period that he has spent with the mayors in the past, an entire hour. He had something and remarks to make at the beginning, and then he opened it up to questions from the floor. That takes a lot of courage to be able to do that, and he answered every one of our questions with dignity, with respect, and with candor. And I walked away from there highly inspired by, first of all, the opportunity to be at the White House. It was my first time, and hopefully not my last. But it was just a magical time to be at the White House, and I hope you have an opportunity to go there someday if you haven't already. If you get to Washington, D.C., I encourage you to go. It's worth going through the security. It's worth it to be able to say you have been at the White House where so many decisions that impact our country have been made. So, it's been a long week. Happy to say that we made it out of Washington, D.C. before the blizzard of 2016 hit, because it was supposed to completely shut down Washington, D.C. and neighboring cities. We were on one of the last flights out. Happy to say we're home. It feels good to be back home. Proud of the work that we've done this week. Take care. Have a great weekend. Thank you.